It is Halloween, or soon at least, so as you can see, I'm getting in the spirit, and Season 2 of The Mandalorian is here, so we're going to take this last chance to do a spoiler-filled Season 1 The Mandalorian recap. That and more on this episode of the Escape Podcast for Star Wars The Old Republic. Our broadcast Ashmek today is EPC 358, and playing alongside me is Seema. Hi Seema, how's it going?
Hi Max, I'm pretty happy that The Mandalorian is coming this week, or the first episode of season 2, and we have big plans. Some friends and family that all people that are in my bubble. We're going to do like dinner and the last episode of season 1, and then the first episode of season 2 tomorrow night. So I'm looking forward to that. And this is the first year, actually, that I have ever technically not bought any candy for Halloween. Usually I buy candy for Halloween and then I eat it, and then I buy more candy for Halloween, and then nobody comes, and then I eat that candy. And so this year, I don't know why, I forgot about it completely, so no candy. That's okay, I won't be home. I'll be at my sister's house watching The Mandalorian.
Yes.
So she can have candy. But yeah, so I'm looking forward to that. And then in SWTOR this week, we had lots of action. On Tuesday night, we killed the Primal Destroyer on Belsavis, and that was basically gave people. Well, actually, we went as a group to Nar Shaddaa and make sure that everyone had the quest from the feast event, up to the point where you had to get the, I don't know, shiny nuggets or whatever from the boss that the chef needed. And we did that, and we did some running around on Ilum. By the time the end of the evening came, we basically had made our guild conquest target just from running around doing random things not random things. It was well planned. BC, as always, had a plan for everything. But yeah, we had a great night on Tuesday night. And then tonight in our ops team, we were working on veteran mode Dread Palace, and it was our first night where we got a lot of several really good attempts on the last fight in there, the Dread Council, and we made some good progress there. I mean, if we would have had another, good attempt, we were in like shot of making it, so I'm happy with that. I jinxed us going in because I said, I said the first fight was going to go flawlessly, and of course it did not. So I don't know why I say things like that. As soon as I say it, I go, "Why did I say that?" and so does everybody else.
It was fine.
Anyway, yeah, I was just happy. Yep. So anyway, how about you, Max? How's your week been going?
Also been going pretty good. As you can see, I did get this rebel pilot helmet. We had a work event on camera. Everything is still remote and social distance, but because I can do the backgrounds and everything, I got sort of excited about it. I made myself an X-Wing rebel pilot setup. Here, I'll switch it to full screen here for anyone who's watching the video. You'll have to tune in and see what it looks like. But
I mean, I totally think that's a fantastic costume.
Here's the trench shot. So live view of the X-Wing flying through the trench, and then I do the bounce up and down a little bit like this.
And you guys don't know this, but this is how he dresses for work every day.
Grade 5 well, of course. I mean, everybody's in like sport coats and stuff, and I get on video like this. All right, guys, it's time to get some work done. Gray leader standing by to do some work. No, that is not how it goes. But yeah, so I kind of got into it. As you can see, I don't know if this helmet's gonna stay on the whole podcast, but I'll keep it on for here for a little bit so people can tune in and check it out. In Star Wars: The Old Republic, I finished the Feast Weeklies last week. I started doing them this week. I haven't even finished them this week yet, but just by doing the weeklies, you get a ton of the currency, enough that I had to start buying stuff because I was about to hit cap. I got I bought the mount. I bought the droid, the drink droid deco. I bought the Ugnaught.
Wow.
Couple other things, just to clear out some credits, and I'll do the weekly again this week. And I talked to Geburga and Dugadur, whoever the two huts are. There's a continuation of the story. I haven't finished it. You have to go to Mech Shah. They want you to do some stuff there, but I'm on Team Geburga. He is a good guy, Seema. I'm telling you. I know you don't trust them huts, but he's a good
Well, I
guy.
mean,
He's a
I'm
good
behind
guy.
now. I need to catch up on the story. I I I still have a week and a half, so, it's not going to be over tomorrow.
The second part of the story started this week for anybody that's following along. It's a 3-week event, and there's like an intro to the story the first week, and you can do it. You could do it later. It's not like you miss anything not doing it the first
I'll
week.
still be able to do it Monday night
Yeah,
of last week. Yeah.
yeah.
But
Yes. Tuesday morning before reset
yeah,
on the
right.
end of
Right.
the event.
7:30 in the morning,
You're like
space bar.
space
I
bar.
don't understand this story.
All huts are bad. But
Yeah,
yeah,
I'll have to add.
it yeah. It seems to me we got good hut, bad hut, and I believe the good hut. I believe he's on the up and up. That's my view of it so
Cool.
far. So we'll see where that goes. And yeah, Dread Palace, vet mode, council fight. We got almost we were on the very edge of the burn phase, and we ended up getting somebody got knocked off the platform, and we were short people, so we wiped it up. But we got some really good attempts in there. We're just trying to learn relearn that fight. In fact, I never remember in vet mode having to, in the second phase after you kill Styrak and Brontes, to have to go. I kite Raptus. I don't remember ever having to go up to Raptus's throne and get his crystal. And maybe I don't if I just burst him a bit to get enough aggro. But if you go and get the crystal, then he stays aggroed to you and is sort of anchored to you. When we did get to that second phase a couple times, I did notice he was running around more than I expected, so I will just go get that crystal. You have to go get the Styrak and Brontes crystals, but I never remember getting the other crystals. But apparently you do, so I will do that too. That
This
is
is my
still a fun fight though, and we will have that done on vet mode soon. Not gonna jinx that,
this
but
is my new mount. I actually bought it on the I impulse bought it on the cartel market.
it is quite colorful.
I know.
It looks delicious. You could have quite a meal out of that.
It's
And
a jeweled Oro bird.
look at the little turtle there. Look, he's scratching his face.
Yep.
All right.
Anyway.
We will have Dread Council done soon. We will also have some news.
Oh, now who's
soon.
jinxing us?
Now an Imperial News Network report.
As usual, first up in the news, Bug Watch. Not too much. A few things in Bug Watch. Couple things to go read. Here's one that I wasn't too fond of how it was presented. Did no one bother to proofread Feast story?
And
Pretty
then
much
and
the title. It's like
then with the
one
image, you had to click.
Yeah,
and
you
go
have to
through the
click
Imgur
because it's like
thing.
uploaded to Imgur, so you can read the little number 2 choice. I guess you don't me to help her then. They left out a word, so there's a typo.
Yeah.
There's a typo in the quest.
Yeah.
But is this how you have to present your you could be a little more positive. It could have been like, oh, hey guys, I noticed a typo in one of the conversation options, and here you go, fix it when you're in there. No, it came across as, oh my gosh, did no one bother to read? And then the second post is, you should have seen last Tuesday's patch notes before they were corrected. What kind of,
Okay.
grammar inquisitors are reading the
Okay,
poems?
you don't know they were inquisitors. come on, be fair. They could have been,
I didn't want to say grammar Nazis because we don't have Nazis in Star Wars.
Yeah.
So they were grammar
Marauders.
Imperials.
Marauders.
Yeah, probably marauders. Jumping in,
Marauders.
leaping into the forums and smashing the people's feelings. You gotta make Daniel cry himself to sleep. You put this kind of thing in the forums. That's all I'm saying.
I feel bad for Darth Malgus though. If the Belsavis World Boss was not responding, that must have been like a bummer because it's bad enough waiting for a world boss and then you wait and wait and wait and then you're like, oh, is it not going to spawn at all?
Right. So that was on the Darth Malgus server. I first thought you were saying you felt bad for Darth Malgus, which I also feel bad for because he's got a bad rap. This guy's got a lot of good ideas. But
yes, he does.
The Darth Malgus server, the world boss not respawning, as opposed to, which I really like, the world bosses respawning really fast in all the places where we would want them to for this kind of stuff. We've had to kill
that really helps.
a bunch of the world bosses for the feast event. They never used to work this way. They do now. It was the right thing to do. It's a quality of life thing. You can come in there with a group of your own. You can get a group together on the planet. And even if there's another group in there killing it, you just stand around and wait a couple minutes and you're good to go. That is brilliant. Kudos to BioWare for putting that fix in.
Let's see. Oh, so we had a tiny update this week too. Game update 6.1.4b. Some bug fixes in there. They fixed a couple of things with the feast event. They refixed being able to click on people's names in chat. So when a person's name is a link in chat, you can now use that again to invite them to a group, for instance. They did some work on the functionality of /who. It seems to work better if you type /who by itself and then type your search into the screen that you want to get your results in. So like if you do it in the command line like I was trying to do, it doesn't seem to work all that well. But if you just go /who and get the dialog screen up and then put your search in, it is pretty solid.
And it allows you to set comments, a personal comment on people that you see in the list. Maybe it's somebody you saw. And they have that new, remember the legacy ignore tab.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Oh, so Zen in the chat room says he loves legacy ignoring spammers. It makes him so happy. I opened my legacy ignore tab and I had 6 ignores in there. That's what it was. I couldn't figure out what I ever would have ignored in the past. It's spammers, and I'm sure they were either banned or their accounts were deleted, and that's why they're all called unnamed legacy right now.
Oh yeah.
So I can undo those. I'm no longer ignoring unnamed legacy.
I don't know. Zen's asking if the world boss respawn time being short was just for the event bosses, or if it was all the bosses, or if it'll be for all the time. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know for sure either. I would love it if it was all.
Me too,
all
because
the bosses all the time.
When you think about it, what purpose does it serve for them to have a long spawn time? It's not like they drop anything valuable that they want to control our access to.
And it's group content. You want people doing these things, and if they're never there, people won't even try, and then there's a whole bunch of group content that is not available.
I mean, like we learned on Osis, I've said this before, but like the 2 world bosses on Osis that people were forming groups for every day, over and over and over again, that really was a model that all the world bosses could be.
This who window, I don't know what I don't know. It's not. I don't know what it's searching. So I don't know what they fixed. So I typed in like Alea or Ayakta. We have 12 people logged in right now, just randomly to, this late at night on the Imperial side. It lists.
No, we have 5 people logged in.
What?
We have 5 people logged in.
No, we have 12. Look.
We have 5.
Then maybe my guild window is wrong. Maybe there's a different bug. Because look, I've got 12 listed in the guild window. Okay, so guild window is bugged. Who maybe is working correctly? Because my guild window shows 12. Okay.
Yeah, mine shows 5. Like if you bring up guild, doesn't it just show Gloom, Max, FEMA?
No. Sorry, you can see on my on the Twitch screen.
Oh,
Got everybody in there. See, look, I could G kick you right now. Not gonna do it. All right. In guild and community news, we do have our achievement group running once every 2 weeks. We have our Master Mode Flashpoint running group running once every 2 weeks. Those trade off on the various nights, various weeks. So it's every other week for each of those. If you would like to, am I in the right guild? No, maybe I G kicked myself. Yeah, am I in Sanctuary? No, there would be there would be 500 people logged in, and they would all be doing world bosses or something. How many points do they have right now? Let's take a look at that. Conquest, guild invasions, Sanctuary, 447 million conquest points. Yeah. Okay. 447 million
that's funny.
for Sanctuary there. Good job, guys. That's a thing. But yeah, so if you would like to do either that achievement group where they get together and they do the more difficult to do kind of achievements where it would help to have a group, that's what they're sort of designing that night for. 8 to 10 p.m. on Fridays on Starforge. You don't have to be in the guild. Just jump in our guild Discord. You can connect up with that team and join in on their achievement hunting. The other Fridays, which I think is tomorrow night, the 30th, if when you're hearing this podcast, is Master Mode Flashpoints once every 2 weeks. Same thing, 8 to 10 p.m. Central on Starforge. Jump in, couple groups usually running, going through Master Mode Flashpoints for fun and profit. There you go.
Also, stay tuned to listen to what's going on with Mega this month. With the holidays and Marcus is actually moving, I'm not sure where it's going to land, but we'll let you know.
Right. We had a great Mega. I don't know if we talked about it last week, but we had a great, oh no, I think it was just on Friday. We had a great Mega. They did some like a costume contest on the side. They did some achievement stuff on Tatooine in the Blood Sands Outlaws Den. And we did the +10 Datacron on the fleet. We set it up there's a few of us that went and set it up while the other group was going off and doing the achievement fun. We pulled a bunch of people, and I didn't realize we've had a lot of people come in from Steam. We've had a lot of new people joining lately. We took probably at least a dozen people that didn't have the fleet Datacron and got them in there and got them the fleet Datacron. That was
I was surprised that many
cool.
people didn't have it. Yeah.
In my mind, everybody's got it. I figured we'd have like maybe 1 or 2 people that would get it. But yeah, it was at least a dozen people. That was great.
Did you have it, Max?
Probably not. Probably not. Shout out to the chat room. Thank you, everybody in the chat room. I hope you all are wearing costumes now as well. You can take a picture of yourself and post it, post a link to that in the chat room. I will look at those after the show. Thank you for helping us get set up. And with that,
This is the way.
this is the way. So we never got around to, we had planned it out. We had never gotten around to Mandalorian season one spoiler show. We talked about the Mandalorian a few times, but we never really dove into the breakdown of the episodes, the spoilery stuff that we wanted to talk about. We're now on the eve of season 2, so we're gonna do season 1 spoiler. Please, if you are not ready for spoilers and you're gonna go through season 1 still, please pause at this point and you can catch back up after you go in and watch the seasons. But we're gonna go through it a little bit. We're gonna break it down. So let us kick it off. Seema, what is as I always throw it over to you
Well, the
to
first thing
yeah.
about The Mandalorian is it's super cool music.
It is.
So,
I
like,
would
that's
play
the first thing
some,
I
but that's the immediate way to get a takedown notice off of all digital services. But yeah, the music is really unique, really sets the tone. It is great.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, yeah, totally. So that was and there's so many entertaining and good things about the show, but that's just the first that hit me.
Zen in the chat room turned us on to at the beginning and especially at the end of the theme song, there's that humming uh, instrument sound. That's a didgeridoo, which is an Australian instrument. Look it up. It is quite cool. So you'll hear that in the music if you listen to it. I was playing the music for myself earlier today because it just gets you in the mood. It's got that sort of a little bit of the Western theme running through it,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
still futuristic
Yeah, I
and
mean, I do kinda hear the good and the bad, the bad, and the ugly. I mean, I don't really, but I mean, do 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 do.
yeah,
Anyway.
yeah, exactly. And a little bit of that, yeah, a little bit of those overtones, and then a lot, the thrum of the bass and the bass notes. But it's not it's not menacing. It's very zen like, which so our Din Djarin, the Mandalorian, he's the he's got a sort of a zen philosophy that drives him. This is the way. This is what we do. Even when he's catching when he's bounty hunting, I can bring you in warm or I can bring you in cold.
That's like the first, like, awesome the first opportunity where I go, Okay, that's a line. I got
Yeah,
it."
right.
Um, but the other thing I like about and this is not just him acting, but it's like the how they do the camera work and everything. He has very few words, especially in the first couple of episodes, but you kinda always know what he's thinking because they will catch him, like, turning his head to look at someone or, looking up or looking down or whatever. It's very expressive even though you don't even see his face or hear his voice. It's like magic.
Right. Right. They if you haven't seen it, there is I believe it's like 6 episode. You could think of it as a making of series on Disney Plus. That's the making of the Mandalorian. I would say it's much it's much better than a typical making of, because they talk to the directors and the director team um, and they talk about how each of those directors was brought in, and then they talk about this kind of thing where how what did we have to do to sort of stage things so that we could get emotion while there's this helmet that he's going to not take off for almost the entire season. How do we do that? But they did. You're right. They totally pulled it off. He would just stand there, and it would be like the smallest motions. It would
Mhm.
and you and they even wrote it into some of the dialogue of the other characters.
Right.
What's the name of that episode with the prisoner?
Right, where the guy says to him, what's the look for?"
What's that look for?
Yeah.
He just turns to him and tilts his head just the littlest bit. And Rand Malik, the boss running the job, is like, yeah, what's the look for? That is excellent. So they ran it as chapters. So there's 8 episodes in the first season. Each of the episodes, there's a couple repeats, but I think there was 5 directors. So Filoni did the first one. Rick Famuyiwa did the second one. Deborah Chow did the third one. Bryce Dallas Howard did the fourth one. Then back to Dave Filoni, then back to Rick, then Deborah, and then Taiki Waititi. Amazing group of directors. Going back to the chapter 6, The Prisoner. In fact, I thought I had a little clip of it. 3 of the directors show up in the Prisoner episode. So what happens in the Prisoner episode is Bill Burr. That's the Bill Burr episode where Bill Burr plays himself.
Yeah, kind
Which
of.
is just awesome. One of my favorite things I've ever seen Bill Burr do. He's just great. He is the best Imperial sharpshooter I've ever seen. That's Imperial. That's not saying much. I wasn't a stormtrooper, jackass. Bill Burr being Bill Burr. But at the very end, 3 X-wings get called in and do a strafing run on the base because they had defensive guns pointed at the incoming flight of X-wings, and those 3 X-wings are each piloted by Rick, Deborah Chow, and I think it was Filoni in the 3rd X-wing. So I'll have to pull that up here on the side too. But we're jumping ahead. So go
Yeah.
first episode. Why don't you tell me a little bit about the first episode and what we got going on there, Sima?
So the first episode, that's where we meet the Mandalorian, and we see him getting his first bounty. That's where he says also the line that you just brought up. You know, like he saves a guy from being harassed in a bar, so that he can then, you know, put him in carbonite
Yeah,
and take him
to
in.
get his bounty done.
Yeah.
Which,
And that's when he says, I can take, the guy doesn't want to go. And he says, I can take you warm. I can take you in warm, or I can take you in cold. But yeah, so we get our first fight scene. There's just a lot packed into that first episode. And we also, that's where we see the IG-11, who's the bounty hunter droid, who, even though he's like a bipedal droid, he's like his fight scenes are awesome to watch because he's like in 360 all the time.
He rotates his body around, he rotates his arms around. I think this is
And then there's even a little humor because he's saying, okay, there's too many. I'm initiating my self-destruct sequence. The Mandalorian says, do not self-destruct.
And he keeps
and then like he keeps doing it. Like 10 seconds later, it's like, okay, initiating self-destruct.
He's like so ready to self-destruct himself over and over again. Yeah. He was a great
which is a foreshadowing.
He was fun in the here he is flipping around. He was really good in that first episode as just another bounty hunter. And you're right, so much is packed into that first episode. So we meet the bounty hunter, we get the whole idea of who, really quickly, who he is, what he does, this is the way, going after the bounties, the droid he teams up with. The droid is, but he doesn't like droids. You get that. You get the whole feeling of discovering at the very end, then all the way up to discovering the child. All of that happens, all in the first episode, and that everything kicks off right there. So it dives right into what becomes the ultimate mission. And we expect season 2 is going to be based on this ultimate mission of him needing to seek out where the child belongs.
Right.
What I've got up on the screen now is the official Disney Plus, what's called season 1 recap. It's really just a trailer. It's only 1 minute and 39 seconds. And it's just clips and dialogue from the episode. So it's not even like narrated. It's you got to really be watching close. Really cute scenes of the child in there too. So it doesn't really tell you any much of the story beyond just a couple things. Like at the very end here, the Mandalorian says, "So I need to seek out this creature's people. I need to roam the galaxy to seek out this creature's people." And the armorer says, "This is the way." That didn't actually happen in that way. They just spliced this dialogue together to try to tell you some of the story, but it's still got some great clips. I would recommend going and checking it in there. Was
And if you,
IG-11 motion cap
I
from
mean,
Taika Waititi? I,
I don't know.
I don't know. Can he
It,
dislocate his
it's def-
arms?
definitely voiced by him. But you know what? There's 8 chapters and they aren't all an hour. Some of them are more like 30 minutes. So you actually do have time to watch them all. And
Yeah,
tomorrow night is really only one episode of season 2, so you could even after that you could go pick up the rest if you haven't. So,
right.
of course, if you haven't, then you're probably not listening to us, or maybe you are. Because if you're like me, I'm very tolerant of spoilers because I
Yeah.
don't know. I kind of want to know what's going to happen in general anyway, so that I know if something's worth watching. I know that's not a popular attitude, but that's my attitude.
So episode 2, chapter 2, he had to go. So it ends on Tatooine. So here we are. This is why we're in Star Wars on Tatooine. The episode ends on Tatooine because that's where they track the child. He goes and gets the child. He puts a blaster bolt through IG-11's head because he's about to terminate the child. They were going to split the bounty, dead or alive, and he doesn't want the kid to be shot. And that's where you get that iconic scene where he reaches out his finger and the baby reaches its hand up.
And you know why he doesn't want the baby Yoda to be shot?
Why? By a droid.
Well, because one of the themes going all through The Mandalorian is fatherhood and foundlingness, and he was a foundling, and
That
Baby Yoda's a foundling, so he
that was almost
immediately
killed by a
related.
droid. Yeah.
Yeah,
It's sort of like mirrored his own origin story. Yeah, right
yeah.
there.
So he bonded.
Immediate bond with what was going on there. In chapter 2, he now needs to get back so that he can complete the bounty. He's still at this point. He's decided he's going to complete the bounty. He didn't want the kid shot, but he was going to go
Yeah,
turn
but
it in.
he's still gonna turn him in. Yeah.
But he runs into the Jawas. You don't think that? So Zen is saying that they don't think it was Tatooine. I thought it was named. I thought it was. I thought they said it was Tatooine. I've also been watching a couple recaps. So maybe it wasn't, but I was also watching a couple recap videos, and maybe I'm getting confused with some of the things they said, and maybe there's some speculation that yeah, that must be Tatooine. So maybe it wasn't. Also, the child is not Baby Yoda, even though that's what we call him. We have to be clear about that, because it is not actually. It's certainly not Yoda. Yoda is dead at this point in the timeline, and this is well, not
I
not out of
no,
the
but
question that it could be Yoda's child, but it's not
I don't
Yoda.
think, or a reincarnation of Yoda, but I the term Baby Yoda to me doesn't really. I don't take it that literally. I take it to mean
A Baby Yoda species thing.
yeah, a
Yeah,
baby of Yoda's species, and it's just easier to say Baby
yeah.
Yoda.
Then the child. Oh, episode
Right.
5 was on Tatooine. That's what I'm that's
Yeah,
what I'm
the
mixing
one
up.
with Finnick Shan.
Finnick Shan and the mystery person at the end, which we'll get to.
Yeah. Yeah.
So anyway, he's got to get back, but the Jawas rip apart his
Chip.
ship. We met. Oh, I forgot. We also met Queel in episode 1. So we met Queel in episode 1. Queel comes back in chapter 2 to help him put his ship back together because the Jawas strip it apart. I thought it
Right, because
was
disintegrating Jawas didn't work.
no, it did not, and I was quite amused by. Yeah, he was not shy. I mean, he's Zen-like, but he doesn't have he doesn't have a problem fighting when he needs to fight, and he's not passive. He was
Right.
he was picking off Jawas, even when he like sat down with the Jawas and he whips out his flamethrower and like it's like you little, and he like flamethrowers him right in the face. So he's
Yeah, I don't. Yeah.
he's definitely
Yeah.
not passive, completely passive Zen warrior. So yeah, I found that was quite interesting. And then Queel helps him put his ship back together. so that he can fly back to the first planet, Navarro.
And I mean, one of the things that endearing about him is he's not successful at everything he tries. Like he tried to chase the Jawas, and he tried to climb up into their sandcrawler, and he failed.
And he tried to fight the Mudhorn and
Yeah,
failed.
and
I mean, he pretty
yeah,
much failed. The Mudhorn kicked his butt.
yeah.
He only escapes and succeeds in that fight, and it sort of foreshadows the new mini clan that gets created under the sign of the Mudhorn, because the child does the little force levitate force trick on the Mudhorn and saves the Mandalorian. And this is one of the things that strengthens that little bond that they started in episode 1.
So this is one of the things that I disagree with. Some people on the internet are speculating that because Baby Yoda basically force choked the Mudhorn, and then later on he does it in another episode to when in the scene where he's arm wrestling with Kara and Baby Yoda force chokes her.
Yep.
Like that means that he's like a user of the dark side. Like he's a dark side. Like he's going to turn out to be evil. And I think that like all of us, since we play Star Wars: The Old Republic, we're much more used to thinking of the Force as sort of a neutral thing that you can use for good or use for evil. And I forget that in the sort of Star Wars mainstream movie that there's still this notion of the dark side of the Force and the light side of the Force, and that if you're force choking, then you're using the dark side. And then later on, he does heal someone, and then that's typically the light side. And I don't even just think of it that way anymore.
Yeah. I mean, I think there are. Yeah, even in the core lore though, we got used to force choke happen to only be used by the Sith, by Darth Vader and whatnot. I don't think force manipulation, telekinesis through the Force, of like choking someone. Any Force user can probably do that.
That's what we
we're
think.
just used to a line, and I think that's what people are keying in on. Well,
yeah.
Up until this point, we've only seen bad people do force choking. Maybe Baby Yoda is bad.
Right.
I don't buy into that.
I don't either. It's too simplified.
There's other abilities that maybe, and I don't even necessarily buy into it either. Like Force Lightning. Maybe that does require tapping into the dark side of the Force in order to manifest Force Lightning. Maybe. But even then, I would probably think it was debatable. And maybe you could be pure of heart and good and be able to manifest Force Lightning. Well, doesn't Rey blasts? Yeah, Rey Force Lightnings a ship out of the sky. Of course, people probably say that doesn't count because those movies suck.
Whatever.
Which I don't think they suck, but that's just me.
Yeah.
Anyway,
I don't think that Baby Yoda is going to turn out to be evil. And if they do try to go down that path, I'm going to be very disappointed.
Yeah, I don't think he's going to be evil either. He's so.
Zen says it's a legacy ability.
It's just a legacy ability. Look, there he puts his little hand out. There's in this little trailer. We missed this from season 1, but he comes back in season 3. He's only called the client. What's his name? The actor. Of the first bounty. Chat room. What's his name right there? Why? See, I get on the mic and my mind goes blank.
It's Werner Herzog.
Werner Herzog. Yes, Werner Herzog. Bounty hunting is a complicated profession. Would you agree? In fact, I've got that. I can play.
Bounty hunting is a complicated profession. Would you agree?
Sir Galahad. I agree with you, Sir Galahad, that he force choked Kara because he thought she was hurting the Mandalorian or fighting the Mandalorian. He just acted instinctively, not good or evil. Yeah, I agree.
But But even so, I don't think that like force choke is an evil only ability. But I guess that's debatable.
Yeah, I
So
don't think it is either.
chapter 3, we come back to Navarro to turn in the bounty, and Werner Herzog, who's only named the client in the series, he trades. He pays in Beskar to take the child. The doctor then takes him into a back room. The Mandalorian doesn't really like that, but he's got a job to do, and this is what he's doing. And the Beskar is really important to his clan. Beskar, for anyone who's not completely familiar, is a very special metal in the Star Wars lore. It's what the Mandalorian's armor is made of, but the most important thing about Beskar is it's got a lot of energy deflecting capabilities. It can stand up to a blaster bolt in a lot of cases, and it can often stand up to a lightsaber hit,
Yep.
which put the Mandalorians in a position to be able to stand and go toe to toe with Jedi in the past, in the lore. So Beskar is quite important. By this point in the lore, most of the Mandalorians have been wiped out and scattered. A lot of all the Beskar has been like
Basically appropriated.
lost and taken away. These Beskar ingots are stamped with an Imperial logo, so it's obvious like that the Empire, grabbed them and took them. Werner Herzog pays in Beskar, so great. Mandalorian takes the Beskar, and we meet the armorer the armorer in this episode. She is super cool. You only hear her voice, you never see her face. She keeps the helmet on. She forges armor for him. I think we saw her in the first episode too, because he brought one or two ingots back the first time, and she made one piece for him, a pauldron, and then she makes the rest of his set when he brings the rest of the armor back. But at this point, he's getting second thoughts. He's feeling bad. He gets his new armor. He gets in his ship, and he picks up the little knob that the child unscrewed off of his shifter, and he realizes
And he's like,
he made a mistake.
"Aw." Yeah.
Yeah, he has an awe
And also,
moment.
but before we leave that scene with the armorer, um, the heavy infantry dude that tries to interfere,
Hmm.
his name, which they never say in the episode, but it's in the credits, is Paz Vizsla.
Oh, so he's a Vizsla.
Yeah.
So Vizsla is a long-standing family name across the Mandalorians, all the way back to Old Republic and Shea Vizsla, who we're talking to right now. But there's pre-Vizsla is a little bit more important in some of the intervening stories.
Yes.
Go back and read up on pre-Vizsla and the forging of the original creation of the Darksaber and what happened on Mandalore in the Clone Wars time frame. Lots of really cool things that then are coming together and end up, and we sort of see in episode 8, I guess, is when we see the Darksaber. That it is a different spelling, but the speculation is maybe the spelling changed over the years. So Zen said it's Vizsla with an S
It's a
versus a Z.
no, but then they redid it and they spelled it with a Z.
Hmm.
It's still a different spelling, you're right. But it's the same name. Like they spelled it Visla and then they changed it to Viszla. And then I think like Shea Vizsla is Vizla. So
Yeah.
it's all different, but generations, things change.
Words change, Seema. You may not know that, but I thought I'd let you know that.
Mm,
So
I
he
have heard that.
decides. He decides, and this was a Deborah Chow episode. He decides he's going to go save the child. He goes back, shoots up the place, gets the child out, and decides he's going to take off. Before he can leave. Karga Greek Karga what's his name?
Grief. It's Grief
Grief
Karga?
Grief Karga who's played by Carl Weathers, who does an amazing job. It shows up and all the because he broke his contract, all the bounty hunters can go and hunt him, and they decide they're going to do that. But then at the last minute, his Mandalorian clan comes down and saves him in a big firefight. Really cool scene. Bounty hunters with jetpacks flying all over. I love that part. And he shoots Grief Karga, who gets saved because he had an ingot of Beskar in his pocket.
Yep.
But he leaves. He decides he's going to go on the run, and he tries to find a place to head out. So in a way, this seemed like almost like a placeholder episode, but it even serves a purpose in the arc. He goes and hangs out on a planet called Sorgan in chapter 4. Bryce Dallas Howard directed this episode. You get a little bit more of that understanding of who the Mandalorian is at heart, and he has a moment with one of the women who runs the farming settlement, and he won't take off his helmet, and she wants him to take it off and stay. She wants him to settle down here with the child. They help the farmers. This is where he meets up with Cara Dune, who is just Cara Cynthia Dune, who's played by Gina Carano, who used to be an MMA fighter in real life, who does a great job. She's totally believable as a tough fighter in this universe. I never for a second believed that she wasn't a professional actor all her life. I mean, she is now, obviously. But really does a really good job. She's a favorite of mine out of these characters now, and plays that strong fighter female lead really well. They punch each other a couple times in the beginning, and that's where you get the iconic scene of Baby Yoda sipping his soup, watching the fight,
Right.
like eating popcorn. This is gonna be good. Let's watch him fight. She helps him out in this farming settlement because there's a bunch of bad guys. What's the race of the bad guys? I wrote it down. Clatunians, Clata Barata Nictonians, Clatunians. It's Clatunian raiders that are attacking the village. They teach the farmers to fight. They fight the ATST, the big chicken walker thing. They save the day. The farming village is going to be great. Maybe it is a place that they could settle down at. But what happens at the very end? Another bounty hunter shows up that's tracking the kid. And at that point, the Mandalorian realizes, no, can't do it. I can't settle down. There's no place that's going to be safe. I gotta do something about this.
But really, he wasn't necessarily going to settle down. He was going to leave the child behind.
That too. I mean, there was a moment where it seemed like he was considering the settling down. But yeah, you're right. He was going to leave the child. Yeah. So he decides he's not going to settle down because that's not his way. And you're right. Yeah, I forgot about that. Then he's like, well, I'll just leave the child here.
Because he saw how the child was, interacting with other children in such a pastoral setting. But then when he realized that the child wouldn't be safe, then he had to take him with him.
Yep. Another inside the arc, outside the arc episode comes next, which is The Prisoner. So the Prisoner episode was a great one, in my view, for many reasons. Bill Burr not being the least of them. That's just me. I'm a fan of Bill Burr's comedy, which is fine. I mean, I think he's a good comedian, and I just thought it was hilarious in that episode that he basically plays himself. So there's a scene. There's a scene where I already did it. Didn't I already do the I wasn't a stormtrooper
Yeah,
jackass. Yeah,
yeah, wasn't yeah.
it's my
I
favorite
like the
line out of
little
that.
gun that came out of his
Yeah,
shoulder.
he had his two
That did
guns, and then he had
yeah.
the other gun that would come out. That gave me a real Men in Black vibe. I don't know if you remember Men in Black, but there was the pawn store guy that had like the little extra head that would come out and talk. That was the vibe I was getting off of that thing. The two Twi'leks. Some people thought the Twi'leks were a little too much, too overdone. I did not think that. I thought they were supposed to be scoundrelly Twi'leks to start. I liked them. I thought they fit the episode. What did you think of the Twi'leks? Did you think they were too extra?
I thought they were yeah, I may watch that episode again recently, and it didn't affect me quite the way but the first time through, I thought they were a little over the top, especially the sister.
Yeah, she definitely played it up, and she was always like licking her pointy fangs
Yeah,
and always in his face, and
and
um,
I guess in general, I've never ever thought the whole, mouth acting is very compelling, like you know, sticking out your tongue and licking your lips all the time and everything. It just seems it's not menacing, it's not whatever, it's just kind of dumb.
yeah,
But what stood out for me watching it the second time, I thought of you, Max, because the droids in that ship, first of all, they're all bipedal, right? Well, not all of them. Some of them are just gliding along. But there's a couple of scenes where the droid actually punches somebody in the fight. Like, really? They programmed the droids to be able to punch? There's so many things they could do better.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Bipedal droids. I mean, I get it because it's relatable visually, but that's it. Star Wars has done a couple more interesting droids. You look in the prequels. There's some like the assassin droids that roll in a ball and a shield, and they have 3 legs and 2 arms, and droids should be able to, like, droids in the future will be able to like climb walls. I mean, they should have like multiple appendages and be flipping all around and be able to use any of them to stab you in any number of ways. That they shouldn't be, yeah, they shouldn't be like a little, march around and like boxing. I'm gonna box you. Put up your dukes. I'm this advanced droid, and this is the only ways I can operate. Even IG-11, who was bipedal, at least he was fully articulated and could rotate all around in all of these
Mhm.
directions. That was a little bit better. So there's that.
Yeah. I mean, in Zero, with another droid, when he goes looking through the ship, he actually walks through it like looking around, like moving his head and looking behind things.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Like
That's why
like
would
even in Tron, like 20, 30, however many years ago, Tron, they would have had like a grid come up on in front of his face, and he would see like, signatures or something.
yeah, and scans and echolocation and
Yeah.
tap into the sensor grid of all the cameras that are around them and process it all at high speed. And no, I'm gonna have 2 optical sensors right in my face, and I'm gonna like peek behind the box. Is there something here? I don't know. You're gonna have to look.
I had to
I'm a
listen really carefully
droid.
because that droid Zero was voiced by and maybe acted too by Richard Ayoade. I can't say his name right, from the IT Crowd and other comedy things.
Oh yeah,
And I didn't notice that. I heard about it afterwards. And so this time I was really trying to listen for his voice because his voice is very um, unique.
yeah.
But it was modified to sound droidy. And so I can see it was hard to pick up, but I could kind of recognize him a little bit now when I was looking for it.
Yeah, I don't even know. I'd have to listen again too. But also sometimes when they say, like a droid was voiced by, um, that's similar. There was two comedians. One of them was Bill Hader. I forgot who the second guy was that voiced BB-8 in the three new Star Wars movies. So who knows if it was they even used his actual voice. I mean, he could have done some voice acting, and then they used that to inspire the
Mm-hmm.
the synthesized voice and cadence,
Mm-hmm.
and who knows.
Yeah.
Because I can't hear Bill Hader very much in the BB-8 sounds.
But I do like that episode with the prisoner because it has that iconic sort of superhero feel where he surmounts all the odds, every single one, 100% of the odds,
Yeah,
which
Yeah.
I liked.
yeah.
I mean, it was in contrast to other times, like you said, the Mud Horde nearly killed him. If it weren't for Baby Yoda, it would have. And then on this one, he was in his element, so he was like, he could take out all the droids. He made all the bad guys pay. The only thing he didn't do was save the one organic, but oh well.
And he didn't. He also, interestingly, which provides us an opportunity to see some of those characters again, he didn't kill them all. In
Right.
fact, he didn't kill any of the bad guys. He just locked them in a cell.
Well, I mean, he killed the main bad guy.
Oh, blowing up. Well,
Yeah, by getting the Republic to blow him up. Yeah.
so he brought the beacon in that was calling in the strike force, and
Oh,
left
the
it.
strike force of directors. Yeah.
Of the three directors and the X-wings at the end, he brought it back to the space station with the boss man and the one Twi'lek. But who knows? They could have jumped in an escape pod, and be broadcasting this podcast to all of you to this day. But yeah, so that was 6 out of 8. So 7, then he decides that he needs to go back to Navarro and clear the deck. So he's never going to be free. He's never going to be able to do what he needs to do until he goes and kills the client, shuts down the bounty on the kid at its source. So that's his plan. There is a trade being proposed to turn in, to call off the bounties on the Mandalorian if he brings them the kids. So he decides he's going to take the trade in order to double cross him and kill Werner Herzog and all of that. This is the episode where Grief Karga decides. So he comes up and he's gonna bring the bounty hunter into town and set him up, and he's got a couple of his guys with him, and he's escorting him in, and decides, and they get attacked, right? So they get attacked by the Minox at this point when they're heading back to the town. Minox, hate Minox. The child does the healing in this episode on Carl Weathers. And this now also turns Carl Weathers a little bit.
Right, and that was a nice payoff because there was earlier, after the fight with the Mudhorn, the child tries to heal the Mandalorian, and he never is able to because the Mandalorian keeps putting him back in his bassinet.
Right, and we see it, but the Mandalorian didn't even see it.
Yeah.
You saw that he was going to do this little heal move.
Yeah.
It's interesting that, just from a lore perspective, that the child just instinctually knows all of these force abilities.
Well, I mean,
whereas
he's
other force users,
50 years old.
Not true. So maybe he's tried lots of things. But, like Luke Skywalker didn't know anything. He's the worst Jedi ever, but
Yeah. He made so many mistakes.
and Rey was, for her first 20 years was she was an untrained Jedi, but didn't do anything, didn't even use any force ability. He seems like a baby, but you're right, he's 50 years old, so maybe he's had a long opportunity to try these things out.
Yeah. We don't know.
Anyway,
but he does have a long recovery period, so that kind of makes him seem like a child too.
Yeah. But this is where Grief Karga decides that he's now on the child's side. He's on the Mandalorian side, and bang bang shoots his own guys and says, "I'm with you. We're gonna do this thing, and we're gonna get rid of the client. We're gonna take him out, and we're gonna save the child, and we're all gonna live happily ever after." Queel's around still, and he's helping him out too. At this point, they get into the town, and this is where Moff Gideon shows up, and you sort of see it here in the clip. Moff Gideon brings in a whole bunch of troopers. His TIE fighter lands and does here right there. It does that cool landing, shoots up the building, kills the client, and they are all trapped there by the end of that episode. Also at the end of this episode, what happens, Seema? The saddest thing in the whole entire series.
At the end of this episode?
Yeah, it was at the end of this.
Oh,
one.
yeah, Queel. Yeah,
Queel
that is the
gets
saddest
killed.
thing.
And we said this
Yeah.
was spoilery, but Queel dies.
Yeah.
I didn't think they would. I was surprised. I didn't think they would kill Queel. I was hoping Queel would be. Early
I mean,
on.
that is sad. There's another sad thing too, but maybe not as sad but anyway, keep going.
Early on, I almost thought it was going to end up being like an ensemble cast, and he was going to pick up and then end up with a crew, and they were going to,
yeah.
roam the galaxy as a crew and try, to save the child together. And it was going to be like the droid and Kara and Queel and, and maybe Carl Weathers, and they would be the crew, and they would all,
I'd watch that.
like a little, like kind of like a little ensemble adventure series. But no, Queel gets killed. Kara takes off early, but she's back here now. The IG droid dies in this episode too. Is that what you're saying? The other sad thing?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So Queel and
he finally does get his chance to self-destruct.
he was reprogrammed by Queel to be a protector of the child. And he decides as they're floating down the lava river in the lava barge that the only way that they can get through the squad of stormtroopers waiting at the exit of the lava river is that he's going to go confront them, use his self-destruct, and boom, explode all of the stormtroopers, which he does. So at that point, you think that maybe they're safe, but they're not. Because what we find out then is the IG-11's. No, he was in the last episode. This is where this happens. Sorry.
Yeah, I thought you were jumping ahead. Yeah, but yeah, he's in the last episode.
Sorry. So 7 is Queel dies. 8 IG-11 rescues so Queel's dead, but IG-11 rescues the child from the stormtroopers. Hilarious scene where the stormtroopers are trying a little bit of target practice on a tin can or whatever laying on the ground and cannot hit it.
And they blame their guns. They blame their
like hitting the guns.
And they punch Baby Yoda.
So then you're not, then you're ready for IG-11 to go gun them down.
I guess the internet was mad at them.
Well, yeah, but
I mean, when is the internet not mad at somebody for something?
But I mean, this is a cinematography and a writing trick. You want to feel the vindicate. You have to have a setup for it to feel vindicated when be on the side of wanton murder. I mean, if it was IG just coming in like 2 innocent seeming stormtroopers just doing their job all in a day's work, and he goes and shoots them in the head, that would seem a little rough. And maybe everybody would look at that and go, well, I guess they had to die, but they were just doing their, when they're dumb and they punch Baby Yoda, then, now kill him.
Yeah.
So now we're all happy for it. So it was a setup, for them, and kind of hilarious. But here they're they have their shootout. They're trying to. This is where they're escaping. They meet up with the armorer again. They realize that the rest of the Mandalorian clan was wiped out by the Imperials. Mandalorian is really mad about it. This is where they're now escaping down the lava river. They think they're going to get out and get away. They realize there's all those stormtroopers at the exit, and IG-11 does his sacrifice. So another sort of sad loss of a character in this first series. So I guess we have to keep an eye out. They're not afraid to kill off some cool people. So he stomps out, blows up. You think now that they're home free, and he's going to fly off into the sunset. Now that this is escaped, Moff Gideon shows up in his TIE fighter, and is now trying to shoot him down. Great use of jetpack. Am I still in here with my jetpack? That's why I had my jetpack on earlier in Star Wars: The Old Republic. He got his jetpack as leading up to this episode. He uses his jetpack to fly around and fight Moff Gideon's TIE fighter in the air.
Yeah.
So did you like that? I thought that was kind of dramatic and fun.
Yeah.
Him jumping on the
I
TIE
like that
fighter, takes out the TIE fighter, flies off. You think Moff Gideon has crashed, and now that sort of wraps up season 1. At the very end, that's where you get the scene of Moff Gideon. I think it shows up here. Moff Gideon cutting his way out of his crashed TIE fighter with the Darksaber. So for anyone who's not familiar with the Darksaber, there it is.
Which I wasn't when I first saw that, but I've read about it since.
Yeah. So there was an old school, almost Old Republic era Mandalorian who became a Jedi and created the Darksaber as his weapon. Led the Mandalorians as part of what was going on at that time as well. The Darksaber then came to represent one of the elements of leadership of the Mandalorians. I know I'm not telling the story exactly. You can go look up the exact lore, but it was an iconic weapon that was a part of the Mandalorian culture, for better or for worse, on Mandalore for a long, long time. It shows up in the Clone Wars animated series. We don't know where it is at the end of Return of the Jedi, and apparently Moff Gideon has come into possession of it. It's showing up, him cutting his way out of the crashed fighter with the Darksaber was pretty iconic and cool looking to me.
What do you think about Moff Gideon as a bad guy?
I don't know. Until I saw him with the Darksaber, he seemed like every other Moff to me.
Yeah.
He's like, and I know he had his little line about the child is more important to me than you will ever know, but it just seemed like another guy. So I wasn't all that interested or impressed until, because we've seen a lot of scary Imperials over the years.
You know what I think would have been a scarier way to do it is if Moff Gideon, or just swap the actors. The actor, I forget his name, who played Moff Gideon, is the client, and Werner Herzog is the big baddie.
Yeah, I don't know if I think Moff Gideon's going to have a much bigger part in the second season, and I don't know if Werner Herzog was necessarily up for that, but
yeah,
you're right.
I definitely, well, unless they're going to introduce some new big baddie, I can't imagine that he wouldn't have.
But I would have done that too. I bet Werner Herzog wouldn't have signed up for all that work.
I mean,
he's got other things. I mean, he's got it. I mean, guy's a serious business.
I mean, that doesn't, we're just talking about who makes good villains, not.
But you're right. The way,
well,
we'll see. We'll see. I mean, that guy's a good actor. I forgot his name.
Yeah.
I looked him up. And
he just needs more. He needs some more evilness to him.
He needs more development. He's very underdeveloped. Yeah. We barely got to see him. Him pulling out the Darksaber was nice. Gives him a little bit more of the lore weight behind him. But Werner Herzog, just from the first moment on the screen, and in the trailers. Yeah, I mean, his iconic voice in the trailers was sort of a setup. Um, it's hard for anybody to stand up to Werner Herzog, so I could see that being an issue. So then, chapter 8 wraps up, and that brings us to where we are now. Couple other minor things in there we glossed over. There was what we sort of skipped over one of the episodes. Which episode was the one where he does his little the gunslinger? We sort of skipped over episode 5 because your character is wearing the
Well, yeah,
what's her
my
name?
attempt at making a Fennec Shand.
Fennec Shand armor set. Yeah, so we
Yeah,
sort of skipped over chapter 5, which was the
it was another one of those that sort of like was kind of episodic.
Fennec Shand and Toro Calican was
Yeah,
the fledgling bounty hunter supposedly who double crosses him and is an idiot and doesn't survive for his trouble. Fennec Shand is the Imperial mercenary assassin who is tracked, and she's the bounty. She is apparently down for the count by the end of the episode, but not necessarily dead. Was she dead or was she not dead?
I think she was dead, but then at the very, very, very end of the episode, you see a mysterious figure come and lean next to her. So
Yes.
the way I read that is he was just looking at the crime scene. I don't think he was gonna pick her up and she's gonna show up again in another episode. But what do I know?
A lot of speculation around who that mysterious character was and whether they're going to be in season 2 and whether or not it was Boba Fett. So we'll
I
see
mean, it
where that
definitely,
goes.
from the sort of calf down, it kind of looked sort of Mandalorian-ish.
It kind of. I thought you were gonna say it looked like Boba Fett. Are you like an aficionado of Boba Fett's calves?
Well, yeah, no, I mean, it was like
Yeah,
some kind of an infantry type thing. It wasn't like
yeah.
a
It
Twi'lek
was a boot
dancer's
thing.
legs.
There was a little bit
Yeah,
of like the spurs sound when the person was walking, which was like that. So yeah, the speculation is that maybe it's Boba Fett. We'll see. We'll see how that goes. All
I
right.
don't need for it to be Boba Fett though.
So still really good. Queel is gone. He'll be back as a Force ghost, and he'll say, "I have
Spookin'.
spoken." Cara Dune, I hope she's gonna be back. Grief Karga, Carl Weathers. I would love it if he stuck around, because he's done so much to redeem his acting chops. Not like I never really knew all that much about him, but between Happy Gilmore and Arrested Development, thought I would have trouble taking him seriously, but he was awesome in this. Because Arrested Development, he was just a caricature of himself,
Yeah,
which was hilarious, and he played it
we're
really
gonna
well.
get a little Ahsoka Tano in season 2.
Yeah. So we're getting the whole.
But I think it's gonna
The
be.
Jedi, in theory, in general, should be part of it because he's supposed to go find the Jedi.
I have a
part of his
feeling that
quest.
it's gonna season 2 is gonna be fairly like episodic. Like by that I mean sort of like the prisoner episode where it's like a standalone story with a little bit of the story arc thrown
Little
in.
tie into the arc. If they want to sustain this, if they want to keep it going, they're going to have to do some of that. I mean, it can't just be a linear story, and shut it down. I would love it if it was. I like the off arc stories. I like the prisoner. I like the farm rebellion. I liked the gunslinger. I would be fine with a series that just just planet hopped and had all of these little things and maybe threw in some lore and some Easter eggs and some stuff along the way, and maybe there was an arc which helped it continue to drive to some degree, but I would be good with just to live in that world and go on these little adventures,
I
Firefly style.
certainly I certainly feel like they could make it a successful show doing that. What I what I don't want to see is that it becomes a sort of like a Lost in Space kind of thing where every week they're looking up some clue to Baby Yoda's family and then and then the clue doesn't pan out. And then the next week there's a new clue and then that clue doesn't pan out, you know. It can
Right,
move forward as slowly as it wants to,
right. But
but I would
don't,
like for it to move forward.
yeah, don't get repetitive with the roadblocks
Yeah.
and formulaic. Like, oh, we're almost gonna find his family. Oh, it turns out to not be his family. All right, let's go to the next planet. We're gonna almost find his Oh, this one's not his family either. Gilligan's almost gonna get off the island, and then they don't get off the island.
Right. Gilligan's Island, that's a better
Yeah.
example because I guess Lost in Space has that new version now. I don't know how that one goes.
There's a good robot in that one. It's kind of bipedal, but it's quite advanced and scary in a good way. But I've only seen an episode or and a half. So who knows? Maybe it gets dumb and does some boxing and looks around with its eyeballs.
Looks around with his eyeballs and does some boxing. That's awesome.
All right. I think we've exhausted just our rambling walk through a recap of the first season. I'm ready for season 2. Maybe by the time you're hearing this, the first episode of season 2 has come out. It's going to be one per week. I've got time set aside with my older daughter. We're going to be doing pizza and Mando night tomorrow night. I hope you all will have fun as well. We will. I'm sure we won't do spoilers, but we'll do our initial reactions on the show next week, which should
Yeah,
be
we won't
fun.
do spoilers, but yeah. We might have pizza too, but the only plan we have so far for sure is key lime pie.
That sounds good to me. So here I'll go into full screen mode to read off our closing here. So now we are wrapping up episode 358 and kicking another astromech, not this one, but we're kicking another astromech out in airlock to broadcast this podcast to all of you out there. Please keep up with us on Twitter. You can follow me at Max the Gray, and that's where I announce the podcast, as well as in our guild Discord, where you can find us, aie-guild.org. There's a Discord link in the upper right. We're on Starforge. We have a guild on the Imperial and the Republic side. Do a lot of fun stuff every week. We've got Mandatory Fun Night, which is an open guild fun night on Tuesday nights. We've got rotating events every Friday night. We've got a bigger monthly event that goes on. We've got ops teams. We would love to have you come play with us. aie-guild.org. Come find us, jump in Discord, and we will get you a guild invite. With that, we will talk to you soon.
Later, everyone.